Tim Pierce. This is a video about something I always forget to do and is really important and really a valuable thing, and that is to pick up the vocal melody and make it part of your solo, even if it's just 2 phrases before you depart and go crazy. Also, at about 5.5 minutes into this video, I look at another song, and it's one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's also where they took the vocal melody and made it a very important part of the record that was on the radio. I'll give you a little hint. Click the link below if you want to check out the masterclass. We're up to over 100 episodes with tabs and jam tracks. I wanted to show the contrast of playing the vocal melody on the guitar and then playing a crazy solo afterwards, because I always forget that if you do a little bit of the vocal melody, it can be a very strong way to be melodic and to also contrast any kind of blues soloing you might do afterwards. And I thought, okay, what's my favorite new song? And I searched, and Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, I love that song, and it's new-ish. When I got into it, I found something really unexpected. There's so many variations as he sings different lyrics that it literally, if you play it on guitar, if you play those melodies on guitar, you literally come up with all these new vocabulary words, because there's subtle and slight differences all the time, little different turns. There's even a very rhythmic approach in the verse that is kind of like a rhythm guitar part that he's singing. So let's choose 4 of these in a row. And I'm using a regular guitar so that you don't have to transpose. So those are 4 of his vocal lines, and they're all different. Let me slow it down. And this one has a different tail. And this one has a different internal move. This is my favorite one, I think. I love that one. And then the last phrase kind of ends short. But then what happens right after that is this thing that really, really works nicely on guitar if you do it on one string. And then a return to. Now, a really important thing, I believe, is that you do not have to be totally accurate or literal. And in fact, it's best if you don't actually literally do the melody, because you need to change it a little bit so that it lays better on the guitar. An example, he's really singing, but to me, it was better to go. And those are like little aesthetic decisions that you need to make in order to make it more powerful on guitar. So little changes like that. I prefer that to the literal. And then this line, I kind of liked coming up from below. So that's part of the fun, is to change it up a little bit. You might not remember exactly what it does. You might get close, or you might simply adapt it instinctively so that it's a better guitar melody. The verse melody actually is a pretty cool rhythm guitar part. I'm going to try it bone dry. First I'll try it small. Now I'll try it kind of big. Here are 2 more great lines. Try it a little more broadly. Here are 2 more cool lines. I'm going to try it a little different way. This song is full of inventive phrases. I didn't expect it. There are so many really clever little twists and turns just with a 5-note combination. There's almost too many to learn. You could pepper your solo with pieces of the melody, or you could just start with 2 phrases of the melody and then depart and play the blues. But for me, it actually added to my vocabulary as a guitar player, because there were so many things that he did when he wrote and sang this song that were clever and inventive and simple recombinations of 5 and 6 note phrases. My reason for doing a video on the power of vocal melodies for guitar really has come from the passing of Glen Campbell. I wanted to find a modern song, so I chose Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, but the real inspiration was Glen's passing. Wichita Lineman, which came out in 1968 when I was 10 years old, one of my favorite records of all time. And in it, Glen plays with a Fender 6-string bass with flatwounds. He plays the melody in the verse. And the power of that melody and my love of that record has never diminished. I actually got to do a lot of work with Glen and his family before his passing in the last few years. In 2011, I did Ghost on the Canvas, which is a great record, lots of great songs. Brian Setzer, Billy Corgan, Dick Dale, Rick Nielsen, Chris Isaac, a bunch of great people on it. I got to work on that record and play on it. In 2012, I got to do a Grammy tribute to Glen Campbell. I was in the band. We did the Grammys. He came up and sang a bunch of songs. He did great. Blake Shelton sang, the band Perry, a few other people. Then in 2015, I got to work on a very powerful movie, a documentary about Glen's life called I'll Be Me. I worked on the soundtrack and the score, and that soundtrack actually also won a Grammy. What follows next is a little performance of me doing Wichita Lineman. I play the vocal melody and then I kind of solo freely over the outro chords.